before I dive in, I have to get back to like the very beginning. You know, I write about a lot of reality television. I'm always wondering why reality for you, especially from such a, regular background, in finance, and why The Bachelorette?
Yeah, so when you ask why reality, why The Bachelorette, I don't have those answers because none of this was like proactive. It wasn't like planned out and it just kind of happened. And that's what happens with life sometimes. You just never know what's going to come your way. If you asked anybody in high school if they thought I would be on a reality television show or college, I could promise you all of them would be like, no, that's not the guy. And so the opportunity just came to fruition, and it was one that most people suggested and told me, don't do it. Doesn't really make much sense to be doing something like that. But why I did it when it did come on the table is because like my gut was just like, this is fun. This is cool. This is exciting. Not much of what you've done in your 20s has been fun, cool, exciting. It's been all based on work in this blueprint. So I just did it because like my gut was like, go do it. Go have fun with it. Although colleagues, parents, bosses, everyone was like, don't do this. You got everything going for you. Don't screw it up.
Yeah, no, well, that is true, and there's so much risk, but then there's the reward. I mean, I'm speaking to you today. Probably wouldn't have, I wouldn't have that opportunity to do that. So when you were in it, when you were in the whole, it's like it's a game show with elimination and everything, and then all the love connections. Did anything go through your mind like, okay, I have to go back to my job in finance? Like, how is this all gonna work out?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the whole time I knew I was going to go back to my job, and I
Yeah.
did. I got dumped in the middle of Thailand, and I'm sitting there, and I go to see my mom for Mother's Day, and the next day I was back.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything otherwise about, I don't know, just how all this works, social media works, and potential opportunities could work. I didn't know any better, so I went in the show, and then, I went back to work, and it was a wild predicament to be working in the professional world and then also have like your whole personal life, which you've kept pretty under wraps most of your life, now exposed, and not only exposed, but like all over a television series.
Yeah. Yeah. So you go back, you're working. How would you say then, because it's obviously the things that happened, you sort of inched you into what you've written about. What were some of the clues along the way when you got back to your old life that, maybe, we should consider reinventing ourselves or going in a different direction? Were there things that happened afterwards in your professional life that made you kind of get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, and I open about this like right in the book. Like I was having severe like situational anxiety related to work years and years before I went on the show. And so I took a job when I moved from New York to Seattle, and this was before the show even came to fruition. I knew that I was going to leave the bank after 2 years because of the level of dissatisfaction I had with the career, the level of lack of engagement, and I just had lost any sort of passion tied to the career. So I knew I was going to leave after 2 years. And then this opportunity came, and I went back to the show, and that desire to want to go like write my own story and create my own path just became even more and more prevalent, because what a big thing that happens when you get off the show is you get access to things just like you and I speaking right now that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to. And from that access, you learn more about different areas and industries and people and things you could do, and the desire to want to carve that path and create that path actually increased and magnified significantly.
Yeah, no, for sure. And and this also leads me to another question, because I think a lot of people look at you and this is very aspirational for them. But then I think a lot of people are like, I've got this great job, I've got money, benefits, now I bought a house, but I'm not happy. What do you tell these people, like, who are sort of, maybe in their mid 30s, like trying to decide? What advice would you have?
I think it is, there's so much I could give them, right? But what I would say is there's 168 hours in a week, right? And you go to work and you tell me how many you work, but maybe it's 40, 50, maybe it's even extreme side 60. There's so many more hours that you could start to do something that maybe aligns with natural learned abilities or skill sets or some type of passion that you get excited about. And now more than ever in 2022, one opinion, one blog, one video, one idea, things can turn around like that. The stories are endless of the people that have changed their lives in a matter of moments, given the accessibility we now have with so many people in the world of social media and other areas. So I would say dig deep and understand what it is you don't enjoy about your career. There's a whole chapter here which breaks it down. I think it's usually something aligned with mobility, something aligned with passion, skilled, natural skill sets aligned with your job responsibilities, compensation, or the fear of just leaving. And once you've identified which of those 5 it is, you could create a customized solution for you to get yourself out.
Okay. What about, what kind of advice, because it sounds like maybe you have a little advice for your younger self too, as far as you're launching. What would you tell those 22-year-olds graduating from college right now as far as direction?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things is that I continued to do things based on what was perceived as successful to those in my life, right? How does success look like to my mom, to my dad, to my friends, to my professor? What does that look like? That's the path I'm going to go down. Perfect example is you get out of business school, and where do they tell you to go? Consulting or banking, because that's where you're going to make the most money. And what I would tell any individual, especially just getting out of school, is you have such an unbelievable time with limited liabilities in your life to do what really gets you excited and take full advantage of that, because behind every interest of yours, there are thousands and thousands of jobs. Think about what you like to do on weekends, what you like to do at night, where you spend time with your hobbies. Behind those are businesses, and behind those businesses are tons of opportunity.
Yeah, and where would you suggest though the kids I have a kid who's 24. That's why, and I told him, I said, don't go get a corporate job, go wander a little bit. But when you do want to find out, okay, you're passionate about the environment, where do they look, or where do you suggest they start looking?
Yeah, so there is a whole chapter here on taking the work out of networking. And the big thing is that it could be like one introduction, one conversation, one email that could literally change your entire life. And I think so many people are trying to throw resumes at opportunity that they might see at like Indeed.com or some of these job search engines. And that's not how you're going to get hired, right? You're just one person in an algorithm machine that is meant to churn and burn you. So if you have interest, you have to do some work with LinkedIn. I think you have to understand the industry you want to get into, and there's so much opportunity to connect with these people. Now I have a step-by-step process in the book that'll actually allow you, and it's legal and ethical, allow you to get emails and contact information for those people that you're trying to get. And then I have templates in the book of how you can actually position yourself to get these introductions. So if you're interested in environmental science or whatever it may be that you brought up, how are you talking to the people that are big players in that space, or that make the hiring decisions, or that associations are aligned with those groups, or recruiters that are specialized in only hiring for these companies? There's so many ways to back into it, but just throwing a resume in a job recruiting system is not going to be the way to do it.
Yeah, they should just issue this at graduate school for every kid. Just give it to them, because it's a bold new world versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Like when your parents got out of school, it's completely different ball game. So you have to know how to play the game. I also know you have to learn to pivot in this world. I know you recently pivoted, which I think it comes with the territory of being reality television and then the two worlds colliding. Did you anticipate that after your boss listened to the podcast that you were just going to be like, I'm out?
I wasn't sure what was going to happen, honestly. I certainly didn't anticipate to have this like ultimatum into a corner, restart your career or don't do anything outside of what's here. No more, social media podcasting, collaborations without our approval. That I didn't fully expect. Caught me off guard a little bit. I think in the back of my head, I knew that there was going to be a time where the personal world and professional world collided. And I think I was, quite frankly, I was probably about 6 to 12 months away from taking the leap proactively on my own anyway. Okay. So at that time, I think it was a little earlier than anticipated, but things happen, and you just gotta, change and detours could lead to huge opportunities. And quite frankly, I talked about fear being a huge reason why people are stuck. It was a huge reason why I was stuck. Yeah. And sometimes you need to push out the door to get you to the next thing.
Yeah, well, and that's it. It was, you seem to just evenly just pivot to, keep on going. Whereas I think some people, it might just knock them down, and then they're in headlights.
Yeah, and it's okay to be knocked down, right? I think if you're knocked down, and this was something I took away from the A-Rod interview, how many times in his life he's been knocked down and like humiliated, but how many times he's had the highest highs. I think when you're knocked down, it's really when you learn the most about yourself and you get the most information to kind of move forward. And it's wild how usually those opportunities when you do get knocked down give you a chance to speak about them to even one person or potentially many. Without me getting knocked down the way I did and some of the things I had dealt with, this book doesn't come to fruition without me taking the opportunity to go on the show, being able to see how some of the best and brightest from Wall Street to unscripted television behind the scenes position themselves, market themselves, negotiate for themselves, prepare quick little one-liners so that it makes the greatest impact. It's unbelievable. And those opportunities lead to new, educational things that you can do for yourself.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And also you have this great background in finance. What kind of, just little tidbits or hints can you offer to people that want to restart as far as financially? Should they have like, the 3 months savings, the old adage, or what do you think about that?
I mean, the number one most important thing if you're looking to restart and if you're unhappy with your career is you have to create financial independence. If you don't, you'll always be relied on what the system was set up to do, which is to keep you somewhat compliant within your job, right? The W-2 payment is going to pay you a little bit. The carrot will always be there to keep going. And if you bury yourself with debt and you're not budgeting accordingly, you'll never have the opportunity, or the risk may be too high to go take that shot you always wanted to take. And you'll never hit big unless you swing big. And so one of the things that I tell people is they're so focused right now and get rich quick, NFT, cryptos, slow down, back up, hit reverse. Because if you don't have a foundation, you can't build a house. And how you build foundation with finances are the basics. It's debt management, it's budgeting, it's behavioral budgeting. So understanding where you're spending and why. And the big one is negotiating on both sides, where you're making money and whenever you're spending money. And right now with our CPI and inflation at 7.9%, right? This is the highest we've seen since January of 1982. Energy costs have increased 26% year over year. This is the world we're living in today is a lot different than a year ago. And if we're not doing all those things properly, you are going to bury yourself in a position faster than we've ever seen before. And the more you're buried financially, likely the more stuck you're going to be in any aspirations you have when it comes to professional navigation.
Yeah. So harness those finances. That seems to be the first step. I used to be a personal finance reporter, so I know.
I love it. I mean, I think that the idea was everyone like, oh, I know I should do it. I want to do it. Yeah. It's no longer a want now. It is a mandatory necessity and need, because if you're not, you don't have time anymore given inflation. Every day you wait, you're getting yourself in trouble.
No, it is very scary, just on so many fronts. Speaking of finances, I need to ask you before I let you go, how is the wedding planning going? I've been down that road and it's a hard one. How is it going, especially with all the, the vendors, the expenses, the moving parts?
Yeah, I always laugh and I joke around about the fact that I've now learned when you put wedding in front of one word or behind one word, expenses are like 3-4x. So that is, it's been a wild thing, but there are so many things that you could do, I think, in this time to manage spending. Like you got to prioritize. It's one thing Kaitlyn and I do. Where is our priority and where are we less concerned about things, and how do we really save on the less concerned? I'll give you an example of less concerned. There are a lot of people out there that are very focused and they really, really want to get married on November 11th. 2022, because they want the date to say 11/11/22, 11/12. Things we don't care about, right? So we don't even really care the day. So those are areas that we can negotiate to keep the price point down. But what's interesting is because of the wedding planning, it's the first time ever we've very much operated independently financially and still do. But we have our first joint bank account together, and that is all our wedding budget bank account. So we're getting there slowly but surely, saving the right amount every month, and it'll be a party.
Yes, indeed. Well, we can't wait to see it. I am definitely getting that book for my son, because it's definitely one of those things that we're all thinking about. But like you said, with the environment we're in financially, a lot of people get stuck and then you can't start to to get out or pivot.
For sure. You get one, I mean, I think people also lose concept of time. You get one shot, right? I mean, on average, talk about this in the book a little bit, but we live till 79 in the United States on average. You know, you take 18 years of adulting, we're down to 61 years. Most people really retire around 64 anyway. So you could take away 14 years from that. You got like 40 years or so to do something that could make a great impact with your career, something that your kids and your kids' kids will talk about, or something that someone will remember you for. And if you don't take control of that, your entire professional career will be written for you, right? And so we got one shot, one life. It's time to make the most of it. And I think the cool thing is people are, right? 48.7 million people have voluntarily left their job in 2021. So the trend's happening.
That's great. And they should. And they should. I think that's one thing it taught us. Life is short. So, you know, YOLO.
YOLO. I love it.
Well, it was wonderful getting to speak to you. Thrilled. The book comes out tomorrow. Is that the?
Yes, the book comes out tomorrow. We're doing an 8-city, 8-day tour, which starts tonight in Nashville with Kaitlyn, myself, and we have Justin Anderson coming. And yeah, it'll be on shelves tomorrow. The Restart Roadmap.
Excellent, excellent. Well, fabulous to talk to you. Go talk to your next person, and best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.